So hey everybody, thanks for joining me today for this Mind Gym workout. We're gonna talk about peak performance and how to achieve it. I'm here today because I love this work. I love to help people achieve their best, and that's why I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today in terms of peak performance. I've had the awesome opportunity to work at a lot of amazing companies, Universal Studios, the largest PR firm in the world, Edelman, and an amazingly innovative nonprofit called the X Prize Foundation, where their mission was making the impossible possible, which, you talk about sort of a peak performance, that's what they're all about, right? So what is a peak performance? Well, the crux of it is how to get from good to great, right? So as we go to work or in life, we have these experiences that we know we're doing well, and then there's moments when we know we're sort of performing at our best, and it's that gap that we're here to sort of talk about today. So, kind of on that note, can any of you sort of think of or anything come top of mind in terms of peak performances you've had in a work or life experience? Anything that sort of pops in your head in terms of peak performance for you?
Yeah, I definitely can.
Okay.
With my business, my hardwood flooring business, there have been times where I've had like 20 lead phone calls in a month and just gotten 19 jobs out of the 20 calls, and at the time it reminded me of like a baseball analogy. Actually, like every time I stepped to the plate, it was just like effortless, home runs, bam, one after the other.
Right, because you're in the zone.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So you're above good, you're great, and then you keep sort of taking that feeling forward. So, interestingly, an Olympic coach, Richard Sunin, identified the 7 steps to peak performance, working with Olympic athletes, and one of those key steps was exactly that, Greg, was remembering a peak performance and then bringing it forward, right? And so in that sort of having that experience, you're not only be able to bring it forward for yourself, but you're actually able to bring it forward for others that you work with, right? Like, here's what it feels like. So let's look at peak performance and how it happens and so on and so forth. So you get a new job, or you get a new project, and over time, the ability and skill increases and arcs up here into, a good performance, right? Here's the gap between good and great, and that's what we're talking about today. I think something really important to note here is past performance doesn't really predict future performance. So, just because you haven't necessarily had peak performances, and this is important in terms of working with yourself and working with others, is that just because you've not necessarily gotten there doesn't mean you can't get there. Henry Ford failed 5 times before he had found success in the Ford Motor Company. So there's a lot of great examples of what that's all about. So the first step to really identifying peak performance for yourself is to see what it feels like and what it is. So I'm going to ask you all to do an exercise where you're going to interview. I want you to pair up. So Pauline and Greg, you're going to work together, and then Corey and Pat, you're going to work together. So here's the question sheet here, and I'll give you a pin. And write your initials on that one sheet, and then you're going to exchange those sheets. And one's going to be the interviewer, and one's going to be the interviewee. So Greg, why don't you start out as the interviewer, and Pat, why don't you start out as the interviewer, and you're going to have 2 minutes so write your name on that sheet, and then you're going to give it to Pauline, and you're going to get Pauline's, and you're going to write on Pauline's as you interview her, right? So you're going to they're not working?
Give me more pens, Ferris.
Yeah, here's more pins. Okay.
I think you just need something hard to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Something
hard to write on?
Yeah, something hard to write on.
There you go. I don't know if
I think
it's
that's
hard.
the.
There's an iPad right here. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the list.
All right. So take about 2 minutes for each session, and You ready to go here on the interviews? 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Begin interviewing.
I'll
So,
do
Corey,
you.
Okay.
what are
Okay,
two people
which
you'd like to help
two
reach
people
peak
would you like to
performance?
help reach
And one person
peak
could be yourself.
performance?
Okay.
One maybe yourself.
Person one is a friend of mine named Libby, Libby.
Okay. Person two.
Person two
My
is myself,
oldest son,
Corey.
Colin.
Okay. What skills do they need?
I would say
And
that
myself.
the skill she needs the most is
Okay,
self-awareness.
what
to be able to
skills do
recognize
they
her
need
own
for
assets, her
Colin?
own skills.
What skills does Colin need?
And
Structure
for
and
me,
motivation.
The skill that I need the most would
That's a
be
great one, Greg. That's good.
self-confidence.
And
Okay.
for yourself,
What
skills that
existing
you need?
skills do? Which existing skills do they need?
Structure and
For Libby, the existing
consistency.
skill that she needs to develop is her. Actually, it's a tangible
which
skill.
existing
She's a-
skills
she's a
does
singer, she's
Colin
an
need
artist,
to
So I
develop?
think she needs to continue to develop her singing ability. It's something that she has a good natural skill set, but she needs coaching. And
Yourself?
for
I wanna
person
say,
two, myself,
self-confidence
the existing skill that I need to develop
in
would be
his
discipline.
tasks.
Okay. Describe what these two people
And
will
yourself?
be doing when they are at peak performance.
I
Okay,
kinda-
so you have about 20 seconds
Person
left.
one,
Oh.
Libby, what
Yeah.
she would be doing,
So
she would be
for me, it's structure and consistency is kind of the
earning-
same, kind of the
Okay,
theme.
I'll just put,
through
Okay.
and what two,
selling her music.
And yourself?
describe what these two people will be
I would be
doing when
doing
they're
at peak
performing
performance.
at
I would be
peak.
Hmm.
a professional salesperson.
Just being in the zone.
What are the benefits for you?
That goes for both of them, both of us.
For me, the benefits would be a more meaningful life experience.
Okay,
Okay.
so we want to switch sides here.
Do we do the
so
last,
the last
what
one.
is the benefit?
Yeah, go ahead. and do that
Benefits
real
Benefits
quick.
for you.
Yeah.
The benefits for me for peak performance is
Should I switch
Abundance.
Ferris or wait?
Just wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
and getting what you want.
Okay, great. So switch, and certainly ask any questions, if you're in the middle of it and you're on anything, so. Okay,
Okay, Pat.
Ready,
Which
set, go.
two people would you like to
Alright.
help?
Oh, we
reach
switch
peak
back though, right?
performance?
yeah.
First,
Well, you're
discuss
writing
head
on
of
mine.
Oh, yeah,
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 right,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, what two people
Okay,
would you like to
so
have?
I'm gonna put
Second
my
is my head of
assistant and
sales.
myself,
What's your assistant's name?
Okay.
Rebecca.
For your head of marketing, which skills does that person need?
she needs to
She
overcome
needs-
failure.
To be organized and
And same question for your head of sales. What skills? does
detail
that person need?
oriented,
He needs to be.
and I would say focused.
He needs to.
And I
He
need
needs to be a better
to
forward-thinking
be
planner.
creative and focused.
Okay. So now back to
Um,
your head of marketing. What existing skills does that person
Existing
need to
skills
develop?
to develop for Rebecca would be
So about a minute left.
Head of marketing. her,
self-direction.
existing skills would be marketing copy.
And
Slash
for
creative.
me would be
And for my head of sales,
consistency.
it would be,
I like that one.
it would be his written skills.
Okay.
And I love what you said about being in the zone for the
Finally,
peak performance. I
for
think
person
that's
one, your head of
definitely it.
marketing, describe
And
what
I'd
this
like to add
person
for
will be
Rebecca
doing
would be,
when he or she is at their performing at their peak.
20 seconds.
Positive.
They'd be rolling out more creative content.
And then what's for the last? What would the benefits be for
Salesperson
you?
would be
The benefits would
Closing more
be
sales.
Okay.
getting more work done at a higher quality.
Okay. What are the benefits for you?
benefits for me would be
Problem solving.
Greater sales, greater sell-through success, and freeing me up more to do
All
other
right.
things.
All right, so let's call it. So awesome, great interaction, love that. Did any peak experiences sort of jump out for you, kind of doing that exercise when you were interviewing? Did anything, did anything jump out for you in terms of what a peak experience was, or what it could be for somebody you work with, or yourself?
I had one myself, which was thinking about somebody who works for me, who I was talking to Corey about, brought me back to a peak experience of myself where I was just knocking down sale after sale, and I was kind of in a zone of like a fearless zone, and kind of like Greg mentioned, that effortless swing. It was just coming and coming, and so that lack of fear just kept me going and going and accelerated the sales curve.
Awesome, perfect. That's great, Pat. Thank you. So, so now we're getting a little bit of sense of what it feels like, right? Greg's experience in terms of where he was in the zone. What you just talked about, Pat, in terms of what a peak experience was for you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at a model. The next slide's going to be taking a look at a model in terms of how to plot the journey to peak performance. So, so a psychologist, Csikszentmihalyi, took a look at optimal human performance over a 30-year period, and he landed on a couple of really interesting insights. One was that peak performance more often occurred at work, right, or in a work kind of a situation versus leisure, like versus watching television or just hanging out. That it really happened, and kind of the related correlation or insight was that it's where challenge met skill and ability. Right, so there was this arc in terms of that contact. So here's what that model ultimately looks like. Right, so this quadrant over here is where the challenge is high and the skills are high. Right, and that leads to peak performance. Anxiety is where the challenges the skills don't actually meet the challenge, right? You don't actually have the ability or skills, so this creates a sort of a level of anxiety. Apathy, anybody can think of what apathy would be in peak performance? Apathy would be where...
No challenge, no skills.
Yeah, kind of both. Well, actually, you might have the skills, but the challenge is so low, right, that you don't want to go here.
Sure.
Interestingly, most people sort of live in this boredom zone. This boredom zone is where the challenge is so moderate and the skills exceed that, but people kind of hang out there, right? So, how to move people into this zone is really what, peak performance is all about. Now, you can, interestingly, notice how peak performance intersects here with like anxiety. Anxiety you can have a multiple experience here. You can have anxiety, skills, and challenge kind of like all driving it, right? So, so there's the model. One of the other things that the psychologist sort of landed on was self-efficacy, right? Sort of the belief in. So you have the skills and ability, but really what becomes important is what you believe you have, right? So along those lines, American Idol is probably a great version where self-efficacy really doesn't work, right? Because they do 3 shows and all the people that think they have the skills, right, and they're trying to do peak performance. But at the X Prize Foundation, Dr. Peter Diamandis believed there should have been, or there should be, a private space industry, right? And so he created the X Prize with no sponsor, no money, no contestants, no teams, and 12, 13 years later, Burt Rutan flew into space, competing with 2,600 other teams on $100 million, fundamentally around, and I know Peter, fundamentally around Peter's belief it could be done. That basically created companies like SpaceX, right? So that's where belief can take you. Incredible places in terms of peak performance. So what have we learned today, right? So we've learned what peak performance is, that crux between good and great. We also have a roadmap here in terms of seeing where we may be on that, or where our colleagues may be on that. What we didn't learn today was sort of the tips and techniques on maybe how to take a colleague, sort of out of anxiety so that they have a better shot at building skills to meet a challenge that happens, and that would happen in a longer sort of mind gym, workout session that might be 90 minutes long. I think the big takeaway for me that I picked up from you, Pat, for example, and you, Greg, was that belief right? You're in the zone, you feel it, you know it. Belief, self-efficacy makes a huge difference, right? Skills and ability are important. The challenge, the stretch is key, but self-efficacy and belief can take us there. And I know all of you will have some awesome peak experiences going forward from what we learned today. So thanks very much for spending some time with me today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Ferris.
you.
Okay.